Just like you offer to the gods, Owerri listeners have offered other radio stations to us as burnt offerings. Boss Radio, 98.9 FM.
Very wonderful evening to you, our dear listener. I am Ihadidime Chidemo. You can call me the golden voice on radio, or you go ahead to bring it down a little bit like Ogene Wanyoma. And with me here in the studio are two wonderful women of substance. They've traveled all the way here to share with us wonderful and inspiring topic. And I want your listener to also listen very attentively, because at the long run you're going to do what? Contribute. So let me do them the honor of introducing themselves. Ma'am, please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're listening to. My name is Lillian Ibe, Program Officer for Alliances for Africa.
That's good wonderful. To be here. Thank you. You're welcome to Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri.
Okay, good evening, Owerri. My name is Ndidi Anike Valokoma. I am a legal practitioner, a human rights activist, gender rights advocate, and the immediate past chairperson of FIDA. That's International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Nigeria, Imo State. Good to be here.
Thank you. You're welcome to Boss Radio. Do you know I would have loved to add BB? That's beauty with brain.
Thank you.
All right. This very evening, we're here to discuss something spectacular. We want to look at fostering inclusion in governance, challenges, and way forward. You know, these days, when you look at what is around, it is really obtainable that you see women, young men, disabled people, as in, let's say, physically challenged people included into governance. So, I don't want you, our listener, to pay rapt attention so that you can find a way to mitigate against these challenges, as in, that's the way forward. So, ma'am, I want you to briefly talk about what inclusion, government inclusion is all about.
Okay, so I will speak from a legal point of view.
Right.
So you have the National Gender Policy that provides for 35% affirmative action, meaning that women ought to be included in governance and in construction of policies all across the country and across all sectors, both public and private. That means that we want to be able to see a reasonable number of women both at the public and private sector. We want to see women taking part in decision making, and that is what the 35% affirmative action is all about. And even to buttress the strength of that national gender policy, which unfortunately is not being upheld in the country today. Last year, a federal high court sitting in Abuja made an order directing the federal government to comply and implement that national gender policy, because what you see today is that there are fewer women included in governance, in politics, in education, generally every sphere of the country. So inclusion means having a reasonable percentage of the other gender, and this is aligning yourself with the position of the Constitution, which is that no person will be discriminated against by reason of religion, gender, sex, and a whole lot of other things as provided by the Constitution. And so we want to be able to see a comfortable and reasonable number of women, because everything that we're doing has to have a balance. And what we're talking about is human rights, not men right, not women right, not children's right. It's human. So we are first human before you are a woman or a man. And so the concept of inclusion is that there is equality and there is equity in everything that has to do with governance and policies and government and what have you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. That's quite educating. Hello, ma'am. Ma'am Lillian, can you please shed more light to this?
Oh yes. So let me begin by saying the converse of inclusion,
Okay.
or the opposite of inclusion, which is exclusion or social exclusion, as it is our context. Now, when you talk about exclusion, you're talking about social exclusion. You're talking about relegating a set of people to the background,
Okay.
people who actually do make up, the society, people whose voice should be heard, relegating them to the background and preventing them from participating actively in matters that concern them, participating in causing change, that could, make their lives better. Yes, improve the quality of their lives. Now, inclusion is the opposite. When we talk about inclusion, we're asking that, it's simply fairness. This is a concept that began way back in America when, the quest to include black people in educational, to be educated. That was when the idea around inclusion started. Now, social inclusion as we have it today, what we're looking at is how do we include people who have been historically marginalized, like the women, the youth, as it is, in our contemporary world today, society, and then persons with disability. These categories of people, we don't find them in places where decisions are being made. And when you look around, you see people who do not walk in their shoes taking decisions for them,
Okay.
which in the long run, you're either contributing or causing more harm, against what Barrister Ndidi has just said, against what we call international standard practice, right? So in this context, inclusion is about how do we bring on board these people whose voices have not been well represented in governance. How do we bring them on board? And then we're also going to be talking about some of the challenges that they experience, either that the society is contributing to, or the people also are part of it.
That's exactly what I wanted to say, because prior before now, I know that women actively participate in politics, because I remember one Bible story that talked about the woman of Sheba traveling miles to meet King Solomon just to see the magnificent office, like, should I call it office or
diplomatic relations?
All right. So, but these days I see less of that anyway.
Yeah.
All right, my wonderful listeners, we are on Facebook. That is Boss Radio 98.9 FM, and we also moved ahead a little bit to our YouTube channel. That is also Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Okay, if you don't know, before now, we are discussing fostering inclusion in governance, challenges and way forward. So we want you to be part of the show as we digest it for proper understanding and contribute. All right, so one thing is to discover a problem and then the way forward. So
Right.
now, can you just tell us, is it personal something? I wanted to say that earlier. Is it personal something, or something that the government is doing on its own, that is like taking people aback from, especially the women and the fiscally challenged and youth, to join in politics, to be part of the politics? Is it personal or something that the society is contributing?
Well, I would say that for every law there is an obligation. There is a part that the government has to play. There is a part that the people have to play. And I will always say, as I say when I have discussions like this, that where your right stops, mine begins, and where mine stops, yours begins. And so when there is a law that is laid down for the smooth running of a country or a nation or a state or an organization, it behoves on two persons or two individuals or two entities to ensure that that law is strictly upheld. One, the people for whom and to whom the law was made, and then the people who have a responsibility to ensure a full implementation. So in this case, the government owes a duty to ensure that the rule of law subsists, so that everything that has been put in the constitution is complied with. And then the people also have an obligation to ensure that they play their own part. And so when we come down to the question that you have just posed now,
yes, please.
Has the government even obeyed its own laws? I think not. And that's how it is. It's as simple as that. I just mentioned when I started, I talked about the national gender policy that provides for 35% affirmation, and that has been given judicial blessing by a court ruling, a court order last year by a federal high court in Abuja, directing and ordering the government to please implement those policies. 1 year after that, we have not seen anything to that regards. When you look at the National Assembly, you only have 3 female senators, and then you have that's about we have less than 3.73% of women lawmakers today in Nigeria. This is taking into consideration the Constitution, taking into consideration the Charter on African and Human People's Rights, taking into consideration the national gender policy. And none of this is being looked at. None of this is being considered by the government. And then what of us down here? How many of us have decided to up the game and raise the bar? How many of us have decided to come out and walk the talk? In other words, we don't have a voice, we don't have a voice. How many of us have made a conscious and intentional effort to come out? And then when we do come out, what are other people doing? Are we being supported, or are we being told that we can only be seen and not heard? And so it's an all encompassing stuff, because the government has to play its part and the people also have to play their part.
All right. So all right.
And just in addition to what she has said, the government, for instance, I don't know if it exists, but I don't think it does. When you want to mitigate the challenge of inclusion, you need what we call a monitoring and evaluation mechanism. You need like a database, a database of persons. I don't know if we have a solid and comprehensive database of the number of women, number of children, number of young persons. I know that NDHIS, National something on statistics, I know they do their best to try and release statistics about the number of women, and then young persons, and then persons with disability. But then again, one thing is to have data, and the second thing is to make that data work for you, right? Now, when you have a comprehensive database on the number of people, well disaggregated data on the number of people that makes up the society, that will help you plan better. That will help you know where you're getting it wrong in terms of planning for amenities. That can also help you know what is needed, after you must have done, of course, due diligence and your needs assessment. So one is to have a proper database that will guide intervention and make sure that nobody is left behind. Then the second one is to do a proper monitoring and evaluation.
Okay.
Right now, in programming, from my experience, you barely can do much if you're not consistently monitoring, evaluating, and also learning. Okay. Now we have a lot of government policies, we have a lot of government laws. I don't know if there is like a scheme that ensures that these things are actually working for the people for which they were put in place. Right? For instance, the national gender policy. By right, there should be like a regulatory body who is charged with the mandate of making sure that the national gender policy is working and realizing the purpose for which it has it was passed. Now, away from that, when it comes to people and our mindset, you find out that there are stereotypes that also impede inclusion. There's something we call tokenism, whereby some people think that the idea of inclusion is like saying, oh, whether they merit it or not, just put them there. No, that's not what it is. Now, when you have a lot of government policies, we have a lot of government laws. I don't know if there is like a scheme that ensures that these things are actually working for the people for which they were put in place. Right? For instance, the national gender policy. By right, there should be like a regulatory body who is charged with the mandate of making sure that the national gender policy is working and realizing the purpose for which it has passed. Now, away from that, when it comes to people and our mindset, you find out that there are stereotypes that impede inclusion. There are some people think that the idea of inclusion is like saying, oh, whether they merit it or not, just put them there. No, that's not what it is. most stereotypes, of course, stem from religious and cultural affiliations, which is one of our biggest problems, as a people, because we have failed to evolve our minds beyond our cultural beliefs or religious beliefs. You still hear people tell you today that, oh, a woman can never be president in Nigeria. I've been on air before, and we got a call whereby somebody said a woman can never be president in Nigeria, and then when you ask them why, they said that's not how God made it. And then you're asking yourself, the same God who sees everyone as equal is the same person who you are, let's say, accusing right now of not allowing somebody, a woman rather, become president. So we need to get to that point where we evolve our mind. Even for persons with disability, there are a lot of stereotypes, about how they are usually very aggressive, how, a lot of things that are being said.
Yes, please.
Yes, and also for young persons too. Somebody will tell you that young people, they are not ready, or young persons they are overzealous, or just one reason or the other.
Rationally.
Yes, ageism and the rest of that. So these are real issues that we need to begin to address. And for me, one way to we can start is by education. Improving the quality of our education, improving the quality of our curriculum. I think that's one way to even start.
All right. You've I was about to ask you to identify those challenges that is imposing women from being included into politics, or men, let's say youth and disabled persons, but you've at least pointed at some. So we're going to open the phone line for people to join us. They need to contribute, And if you're watching us live on Facebook, you could drop your comment. We're going to read that out, or any observation or anything you want to ask, we'll read that out. If you're also on YouTube, please do well to drop your comment there. That will really help in our discussion. And then time to open the phone line so you can call in. Alright, we'll have our phone lines. We'll have 090-922-29922. Let me tell you that again, 090-922-29922. Or you call us on 091-226-779-89. Let me tell you that again, 091-226-779-89. You call us and then you make your contribution, or you ask any question of your choice. I have my two distinguished women here in the studio to tackle any question you bring forward. Alright. Okay, so ma'am, I wanted to go ahead to let's identify those challenges now, and then we'll now go forward. They say problem identified is a problem half solved, right? So I want us to itemize them one by one, those challenges, so we'll know how to deal with them.
Okay, so Lillian has mentioned the religious inclinations, which is a very stronghold in this issue, and then I'll take it a step further to mention culture. Patriarchy, which is a hydra-headed demon that is going to take a lot of swords to chop off the head of this hydra-headed demon. Patriarchy is the bane of Africa. Patriarchy simply suggests that the man is supreme in all things, and that the woman ought not to be seen, can only be seen but not heard. It suggests that there are positions that only men are designed and destined to occupy, roles that only men can occupy. Patriarchy suggests that a man is superior and that the woman is inferior. And so this is what we face every day, and this is a challenge. And so, Lillian gave an example.
Yes,
when there was a program and somebody called in and said a woman cannot be president. I think there was a young lady who was running for SUG president in one of the higher institutions here in Imo State, and some guys made a comment to say, if somebody who cannot stand to urinate cannot be our president. And you hear things like that, and we're facing this every other day. I mean, I ran for governor in the just concluded primaries under the Labour Party. I was the only female Guba candidate, and that's just almost like to say it's to be expected because of the menace of patriarchy that we are still fighting till today. And then that is what gave rise to feminist movements, feminism, which has been given a wrong narrative. Feminism has its roots in fairness, equity, and justice. Feminism suggests that look at me based on merit and do not look at me based on my anatomy as a woman. Feminism suggests that I can do this thing because I have merited it, because I have built capacity, and because I have value to give. And so, but you know, the wrong narrative is being advanced by the wrong people with the wrong understanding. Feminists are seen to be bitter people, are seen to be people who hate men, are seen to be people who are, you know, arrogant and all of that. And now we've identified patriarchy culture. Today, I mean, I don't know if you're Igbo, I'm Igbo. There are certain things, you know, culture, there are certain things women cannot do. When you talk about certain cultural beliefs, and so these are some of the things that hinder inclusion. These are some of the things that impede development and allow, you know, that disallow women from fully expressing themselves and their God-given talents and their God-given gifts. Culture, economic capacity, financial capacity. How many people can actually run and sponsor elections? Economic and financial capacity is something that we need to look at critically, and we cannot downplay the importance of having a solid financial base. And this is not to suggest that the reason why you have a solid financial base is so that you can throw money anyhow and all of that. Bless God, our principal Peter Obi has taught us that you can run politics as cleanly as possible, that the son of a nobody can become a somebody, and that you don't have to insanely spend money. Yes, it costs money. He flies on a plane, it costs money to get fuel for that plane, but then you have to have some measure of capacity to be able to push some of these narratives economically. And so how many women are economically empowered? How many women are financially literate enough to know how far they can, what to do, so that they can build capacity in that regard, and so that they can advance the cause as it comes? And so these are one or two reasons why it's difficult. It's a challenge when women actually want to venture, or why women have refused to venture into politics, governance, and every other thing that has to do with it.
Right, that was really broad. I think you are educating us, you are enlightening us. All right, let me open the phone line again. You know, we are talking about women inclusion into governance, people that are physically challenged, people, youth, you be shouting, youth, give us the opportunity to be in politics, to be in governance. Let's give us positions. Now, the time is now. If you have this hunger, this drive in you to be part of politics, it is time for you to call in to tell us that thing that will be hindering you to take that bold step. All right, so the numbers again are 090-922-29922, 090-922-29922, or you can call us on 091-226-77989, 091-226-77989, or you join us on Facebook, Boss Radio 98.9 FM. We are there live. We are also live on YouTube, Boss Radio 98.9 FM, where you also meet us there. And then we've discovered the problem, right? So we're going ahead to see possible ways we can mitigate against these challenges. So, Ma'am Lillian, let's hear from you a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much. So far we've been able to spotlight some of the challenges.
Okay, I think we're having a caller here. Can we pause a bit? All right. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Are you there? All right.
Okay.
All right.
So as I was saying, there is an adage or a proverb in Igbo that says "Oya Jurana Junwaya," that kind of a thing. Now, for this category of persons that we have mentioned, who, you know, their input is needed for a holistic governance process or for a healthy democracy as it is, you know, I think it's also important that they do not relegate themselves to the background. No matter how much society has made them feel like, their places, or they belong differently, or their place is not
not made for them
decision making tables. It's also important that they brace up, understand that the society is for you and I, and then your voice must be heard. Otherwise you will keep living like, is this second class citizen or even a third class citizen, and that's not what that's not what is worth doing. Moving on now to what your question was about.
Yes, how do we fight? How do we do this?
Yes,
how do we fight against the challenges?
Yes, I think as much as we've been able to spotlight the challenges, the opposite of those challenges is,
the other
solutions. Yes, to the issue that we're talking about. But then we have to also have it in mind that when we talk about inclusion and fostering inclusion or promoting inclusion, we need to know that it is for our own good. Inclusion in governance is something that is worth doing, worth having, and worth doing well. I say this because when you have a particular set of people who whose voices have been muffled or whose voices are not being heard, it builds agitation. You see, most protests, most aggressiveness or violent attacks that we see in our world today is usually about a set of people who are not happy with the way the government is going over time. So the earlier we embrace this conversation, the better for us, because sooner or later, you see, it's unstoppable. When we talk about women's inclusion in governance, it's unstoppable. Is a cause that has come to stay, and it's not going anywhere. Right. So the earlier we adjust ourselves and let nature take its course, I think the better for us. And I mean, come to think of it, I don't want to go the route of imagine is your daughter, imagine is your I don't like to say that before I am able to convince you that women have a place in governance. I mean, come to think of it, they are humans too. Persons with disability are humans too. Young people, are humans too. You see young people who are fighting, who are out there doing all they can, to make life work for them. In our Nigeria of today, you will agree with me that almost like they're pushing us into the wall, and then we just keep going and keep adjusting. So life isn't fair, and this is what you get when you have a set of people, I would say a monogender country. I mean, that's like what Nigeria is about now, who are always there, always telling you what to do, always telling you how to live your life, always telling you, what you need and what you don't need. So it's important that we open the discussion tables and bring in people who will bring in different perspectives. And when we have different perspectives, we are very sure that we are treating an issue from a holistic view, and then we are going to get holistic results.
All right, thank you so much, Ma'am Lillian, for shedding that light. Again, we are still calling out the studio lines to be 090-922-29922, and the other one is 091-226-77989. I want to tell you something. Maybe you've been out there and you're a woman, or you're a youth, or you are a physically challenged person. At one point or the other, you've tried vying for your particular position, you've tried being included into politics, and then at a point you were not able to achieve that which you looked out for. What could be the challenges that you faced out there? I know you're listening to me. What could be these challenges? Could you just call us in or send us a message on Facebook or on YouTube so we can know the angle you're saying this? What's the personal challenge you have? So you tell us, and then we can discuss that together. This is a discussion time on Boss Radio, so it's quite interactive. We're giving you the floor. We want you to call us in. We want you to air your view. Maybe you've not had a platform or an opportunity to tell people, look at what happened the last time I came out to fight for this. Look at what happened. Because I hear in Imo State, I believe that most time people are telling youth, especially the youth, they will always be like, we are not included. We are not included. We are not there. We are not there. All these places, see the people occupying them. They should go rest while we come up. Now, have you tried being there before? Have you faced anything before? try and call us in and tell us what your personal experience is. If you tell us your personal experience, and this will help a lot, we want you to be part of this program. All right? Okay. At this very juncture, we are going to go for a little musical break, and then while we return, please and please, we want you to be part of this program. We want you to tell us that way you feel, that boiling anger you have in you. Just tell us. Let's talk about it here. So then,
when other stations hear us, this is what they sing. Boss Radio 98.9 FM, other stations' nightmare.
This one where you come this early morning, so I even think say now flash when I see your call.
Hey, flash ke.
I don't upgrade and this time now me go flex you. So make you ready. Wait, you tell me say better thing don't land again. Yes, so Zenith Better Life promo don't land again with season 3, and I just win 150,000 naira gift card.
That's right, you. Zenith Bank they give a roof prize will reach 150,000 naira each to 20 lucky customers every 2 weeks for the Zenith Better Life promo season 3. To qualify, just open Zenith Bank account and put money will reach 5,000 naira. Request and collect your Zenith Bank ATM card, whether physical or virtual. Then download and register for the Zenith mobile app or register for *966# easy banking. This promo will run from June 1, 2023 go reach May 31, 2024, and it dey open to all Zenith Bank account holders, whether new or old. Terms and conditions. Zenith Bank, now for your best interest.
This place is rocking and rolling. Disbelieving.
This thing not be just game, now life. It go carry person up and down. Sometimes it go make you laugh. Sometimes it go make you sound person. It go totori your body. It go charge your body. Everywhere go soft. Now the new football season, GoTV don't arrange to summer you all the better ball for Spanish La Liga, Italian Serie A, Premier League, FA Cup, and all the UEFA games will carry weight. Bobby, rush now go collect your own GoTV decoder will carry 1 month free max subscription for only 9,900 naira. Make yourself balance for front chair. Take enjoy the new football season because now good football with a talk so. GoTV, love it.
If anybody give you banana, sky. If sugar daddy give you cocaine.
Ụmụnnem ndị ikorobịa na ndị agbọghọ Imo steeti, ọ bụ gịnị ka anyị na-anụ ife a? Kedụ ihe a na-eme? Ele ihe a na-anụ gbasara mkpụrụ mmiri na gụsoro. Biko, ndị na-enye unu mkpụrụ mmiri na gụsoro na ụlọ ọjọkwa na ha ma ndị nne ha ma ndị nna ha ụmụ ha. Ha na-aṅụkwa mkpụrụ mmiri ya. Biko, ụnụ ma na onye ṅụsa mkpụrụ mmiri, ya jide nne ya na-atụ ihe ife. Jide elders ya kpụ ihe. Igwere o nwere ike kpọrọkwa nwanne nwaanyị kwa ya iko. Biko nụ, ụmụnne m, mkpụrụ mmiri na gụsoro ọ ga-enye gị obi ọma, ọ ga-eweta ego, enweghị ọ ga-emere gị na-awụghị imebi ndụ gị. Biko nụ, eji m Chineke rie unu ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m, ụnụ aṅụọ na mkpụrụ mmiri. Ọ na Imo steeti karịrị 500 ma ndị mmiri employ directly ma ndị mmiri employ indirectly. Biko ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m, ụnụ aṅụọ na mkpụrụ mmiri. Aha m bụ Evangelist Mike Iko.
When other stations talk, we just keep you entertained. Isn't that romantic? Boss Radio 98.9 FM. Radio for the boss mind.
London.
Hello, greet everybody for you. I did your shake bello. What is up?
Welcome back. We took a short break so that I will just break down a bit. Break in, out, and then for you to also take the opportunity to digest what we have been discussing here since it was 4 o'clock. And let me remind us a little bit. We are on a discussion table with Ba Ndidi Anike, and then a wonderful lady, Lillian Ibe from Ba Ndidi Anike is from FIDA, and Lillian Ibe, sorry, is the head of program for Alliances for Africa. Am I right, ma'am?
Program officer.
Oh, sorry about that. So we are here on this Radio, Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. We are digesting, as in, we are just trying to bring it down to how to foster inclusion in governance and challenges and the way forward. We've talked about inclusion, what it is all about. We've talked about the challenges. We've also pointed out a little bit what we can do to mitigate these challenges, but we'll still talk more. All right, so like Ba Ndidi rightly mentioned earlier, she said that she has vied for a position before, so I will give her the opportunity to talk about that. But before we proceed, I want you to know that this program is for you and this is where we start the inclusion. This is where we start the inclusion. So you have the right, the 100% right to join us on the show. And to do that, you can send us a message on Facebook. That is Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Or you go over to our YouTube, Boss Radio 98.9 FM 2. Or you can also call us on our hotlines. Please do call us. We want to get to know you, the experiences, the ones you had maybe when you tried to vie for a particular position or not, or what you've been seeing in the society. You're not new to this society. I am not. So please, we want to hear from you. It's really inclusive. We are starting it from here. So we have our station line to be 090-922-29922. Let me take that. 090-922-29922. And we have the other one to be 091-226-77989. 091-226-77989. So either way, you can join us on the show. We really want you to be part of the show so that we can share from your bulk of experience. All right, Ba Ndidi.
Yes, please.
All right, we'll have a caller. All right. Okay. Was that a beep? Okay, so we're expecting you to call back, please. I'm taking the number again: 090-922-29922. 090-922-29922. And another one is 091-226-77989. You're free to call us and air your view. All right, Ba Ndidi, I know you've like you mentioned earlier that you vied for a position before, specifically for the gubernatorial election in Imo State, right? With
Yes,
Labour
please.
Party.
Yes, please.
All right, so please, can you share a little bit of your experience you had that time with us?
Okay, it was a very exciting one, a bit challenging because, well, not surprising the outcome and the turnout because of what we've been discussing. I think we'll take that.
Okay, that's if that we continue. All right, a very well good evening to you. Oh, sorry, you call us back again. I know you've been trying to call us. Maybe you're having network challenges or any other thing that could be your challenge at the moment. Please do call us. And you can also send us a message on WhatsApp on 080-6999-2999. 080-6999-2999. So we'll get your message. We want to really know how you feel about it. Okay, ma'am, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so my desire and my decision to run for governor, it was born not from the fact that I just felt like making noise, but because I believed inherently that I have a right to also bring forth some of the things that I believe. I have a right to be a part of the governance of this state, and I also rightly believed that I had solutions to the problem, having lived here, born here, schooled here, and working here. So I have a first-hand information of the problems and solutions towards them, and so I decided to walk the talk, which is what we have to start doing now. We have to go beyond the rhetoric, and talk is cheap, right? So we decided to advance from where we were and say let's do this thing. I'm an Imolite, I'm a woman, I'm qualified, and all of that.
All right. Yes, that's all right. A very good evening to you. Good evening to you. Hello. Yes, good evening to you, sir. Thank you. Can you please move a bit away from your radio set? All right. All right, sir. We cannot really hear you. If you can move a bit away from your set, that would be better off. That's quite noisy. Please, man, move away from your radio set. We really want to hear from you.
Hello?
Yes, please. Good evening. Good evening to you. Alright, I think we were having network challenges too.
Struggle.
Yes.
Anyway, so like I was saying, and so I decided to join the race for governor under the Labour Party.
Let me take that number again, ma'am.
Okay.
Please. 090-922-29922. 090-922-29922. Or you call us on 091-226-779-89. We're ready to pick your call and then allow you to make your contribution. Go ahead, ma'am.
And so I joined the race. We started campaigns, and some of the things we saw, we expected them. Some of the pushbacks we got, we expected them. And we were sure that a lot of people were not too happy that we had taken this decision, but we were not. I was very mindful of exactly what I wanted, and I was very intentional about it. And like I was saying earlier on, there wasn't much support from the women folk.
Wow, really?
There wasn't much support. I mean, we keep complaining and playing the victim, but when it's time to do what we have to do, we have a way of pushing back.
Excuse me. A very good evening to you.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. May we know your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Elsa. I'm calling for.
You are who, sorry?
I'm Elsa. I'm calling for Dubai.
All right. So welcome to the studio. And maybe you okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello?
I can hear you, go ahead. Just really a big challenge. All right. So while we wait for another person to share his or her experience, we're ready to hear from you, ma'am.
Well, the long and short of it is that I didn't get the kind of support I needed, and I thought that would galvanize us. And this is my challenge, that we need to start walking the talk instead of always complaining about non-inclusion. Give us the opportunity to get included and do this thing, because power is not given, it's taken.
All right, let's take this. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, please, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from? Timothy.
Okay. I'm calling for Owerri.
All right, you're highly welcome, sir.
Huh?
Go ahead, please.
I need to speak professional women.
Okay, you need to speak to who?
I made the movie.
You made a movie?
No.
Okay, go ahead. Talk to us in a language you will understand.
I mean the music.
The music.
Professional video.
Okay, go ahead. That was a wrong call. Maybe he was trying to call someone else and then he called us. Alright, if you're still here with us, you can call us on 090-922-29922 and another one 091-226-77989. Or you join us on Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri, or on YouTube Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. So you share your thoughts with us. We would like to hear from you. Most definitely, we really want to hear from you before the end of this discussion here. If you didn't call, that means you don't want the inclusion. So you better call so you get included. All right. All right, Ma'am Didi.
So I think that the bottom line is that the relevance of inclusion, we need to hammer on the importance of this inclusion of a matter.
Okay.
Like Lillian had earlier on pointed out, this is a country that cuts across board: men, women, children, people living with disabilities, and all of that. And so it's important that whatever decision is taken for and on behalf of these people has to have adequate representation from all the relevant sectors. When you look at the first page of the Constitution, you know, the first paragraph, it says, "We, the people." All right. So you cannot say "we, the people," and then you take arbitrary decisions without the "we." All right. The "we" is not you. Yeah, and so it's what this does, what inclusion does, is makes for balance, it makes for fairness, it makes for equity, and that translates to the rule of law, really, because you respect the right of this person. You understand that this person has value he's bringing. You understand that this person has built capacity and wants to bring that to the table, so that it fosters national development. And like Lillian also rightly pointed out again, most times some of these agitations are born out of resentment. You keep someone down and you remind the person, you look the person in the eye, and with brazen impunity you tell the person, I'm going to do this and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to eat your cookie and there's nothing you can do about it. And today, you know, today we have that slang. It has transcended to comedy, that even when you trample on my rights, you look at me and say, go to court, you know, in a most, you know, sarcastic manner, because you and I know that we may not be able to get what we want. And so inclusion, when we say these things, I for one, I am not pleading for you to include me. I'm saying it's my right. I'm not begging you to please get me into the government. And that is why I decided to come out and run for governor, because I realize that I have a right to do it. Okay, I may not have succeeded initially, but we will get there. And so the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step, right? And so we are placing a demand on the government to do what it ought to do. We are also placing a demand on people, especially women. Let people living with disabilities come out and run. Why can't you run? Why do you think that because you are living with a disability you cannot run? Why have we put some positions as unreachable and untouchable? So it begins in the mind. It's a paradigm shift that has to happen. You have to be able to convince yourself that this thing is my own. So when it comes to governance, it is us. If it is your house, it's inside your house. If it's in your kitchen, it's inside your kitchen. But Imo State, Nigeria, it belongs to the people of Imo. It belongs to Nigerians. And I am a Nigerian, and so I have a stake. So this, you cannot underscore the importance of including women and other vulnerable groups in governance, in politics, and in other related matters. It makes for balance. And when everybody is happy, really, things flow the way. People won't come to work disgruntled and they're doing things reluctantly and planning coups and planning all sorts of things to pull you down because they are angry and they're upset. And you know, when you walk out of the office, they raise their noses again at you and everybody is angry. We all have a stake. We all have a stake in what is going on, and we must make intentional efforts. Like Lillian said, let there be a monitoring effort. It's not enough to say national gender policy. Is it being effected even after a court of law has given a direction? When a court has given a direction or a judgment or an order and it is flouted, it is quasi-criminal, because you can be committed to prison for disobeying a court order. So how many times have we taken out committal proceedings against the people who flout the order of courts? You understand? Yes. And then on the part of the people, let's all come out. And so I'm encouraging everybody, youths, people living with disabilities and women, can we just decide that we can do this thing? Because if we keep waiting for when this is going to be handed over, well, he who pays the piper will continue to detect the tune.
Yes, please. All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, most certainly. So this popular saying about nothing about us without us. Yeah,
sure.
So that's a very powerful saying, and for me, I think when we talk about inclusion, it's one simple way to get governance working for us. You know, it's something that when it is gotten right, it makes things easier, even for people who are in, you know, those positions of power or of authority. For instance, when you go to a community and then you're trying to, in your head, you just think, okay, I think this community needs a borehole, without consulting them, without knowing what exactly, you know, they need, and you go ahead and you build a borehole, and after a week it's being vandalized and, you know, people do away with it. you feel unsatisfied because in your mind you have thought you met their needs, but you haven't met their needs, or who may not be their most important need at that time. So inclusion makes governance easy in the sense that you even allow the people drive the process. Okay, when you ask them what do you want, and then everybody says what they want. I know you may not get it 100%, but what we're saying is let voices of the majority be heard. And the saying that the voice of the people is the voice of God. The voice of God. So it's very important that you allow people drive the process. You allow people tell you where it pinches them without you just assuming in your head, because you will make mistakes.
That's right.
And let me tell you, the reason why we have a corrupt governance process in our society today is because there is no inclusion. Because inclusion makes for transparency. When you include people in a process, for instance, the budgeting process, most communities don't even know what budgetary allocation has been made for their communities, because they were not included. And at the end of the day, anything can happen. Whoever is in charge could decide to embezzle the fund, or just do whatever it is that they like. And because you're not informed, you may even think that what they are doing is so much, and then you see people praising them, not realizing that this is actually your money. This is public money that he or she has used to work on these things. So it is your right. So what I'm saying is inclusion makes for transparency. Inclusion reduces corruption. Inclusion reduces violence in a society, and it's important we talk about it because it's going to make our society a better place, especially for women and girls, whom are our primary focus for everything that we do.
All right, thank you so much, Ma'am Lillian, for shedding that light. Okay, we are some minutes to wrap up this show, and then I want to remind you something. This same show is going to come up to you same time tomorrow. Maybe with a different speaker here in the studio with me. All right, so we want to tell you that it's time you become part of discussions like this. And I don't know if some persons are maybe like they don't want to talk now. Do you think you have a handle they can reach out to you to know more about law and equity and inclusion?
Oh, well, we have
a social media page.
Yes, Alliances for
Africa.
Exactly.
Yes, on Facebook. You can follow our Facebook page at Alliances for Africa. We're also on Twitter. We're also on Instagram. So if you want to keep updated on our programs and activities, I think it's best you just go and click on the like page, and trust me, you will get educated.
A lot of value.
On a daily basis, we have something to give to you.
All right, Alliances for Africa. All right, you've heard that, so you better run to that page to know more.
And just to mention that this program is also being supported by our partners, Civil Society and Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, and then the MacArthur Foundation.
Thank you so much. All right, this juncture, I'm thanking everyone for listening. Those who try calling in and we didn't have the call through, we also thank you so much. And let's say a very thank you to everyone. I thank you, Bra and Didi, for being here.
Thank you very
and
much.
Miss Lillian, I'm sorry, Ma'am Lillian Ibe, for also being here. I don't want to attach any Miss or Mrs. All right, okay, till tomorrow, we're going to see you again. I remain Chidima Ihadindeme. A very good evening to you once again.
Good evening.